Jeff here. It's not your fault. Thanks for tuning in. It's not your fault is the name of my recovery channel. It's also truth. It's also a fact of life. It's not your fault. I and YF family. Many of us have gotten so enthralled in our loved one's addiction that we lose who we are. We forget our identity. So let's talk about that. But before we do that, let's like, subscribe, leave a comment, notification bell, so the next time I do a video, you guys can be notified about it. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about how we can recover our identity after our loved ones, either addiction, alcoholism, whatever it is, both the same thing. Whenever their events started, we tend to lose who we are. Okay, I want you guys to think back to what you were prior to finding out about your loved one's addiction. Well, you were a mother, just mother, father, brother, sister, spouse, wife, husband, whatever, and what your life was then. It was like then, before your loved one's addiction was brought out to the forefront. You are still that person. Okay, you are still that person. That person does not stop to exist just because you're now having to face, deal with, come to terms with your loved one's addiction. It doesn't just go away. You don't cease to become a human being that you were prior to just because your loved one is drinking or using drugs. It doesn't work that way. You are who you are. You'll always remain who you are. I don't believe that people change. I think people can control their behavior and not act a certain way, but they are who they are as a person. Okay, that's the whole idea of being mature individuals and taking control of your life. Is you try and control behaviors that have in the past brought you down or brought you to some negative situations. So we enablers and codependents, we have to acknowledge and come to terms with that we are still who we were prior to our loved one's addiction. And how do we get back there again? How do we recover our identity? Tough one, very tough. Because again, you see, all we want to do, focus our attention on getting them better, getting them well, because that's what we do. Remember, because we can fix it, right? No, not even a little bit. So we lose our identity. We lose who we were prior to the whole event happening, or it being unmasked for what it is. But you are still there. How do you recover your identity? I'm going to start with something. It may sound cliche, but it's absolutely the truth. You must start with prayer. You must start with prayer. Pray to God that you can be rediscovered again, rediscover yourself, and recover your identity. Essentially, what it comes down to is you're asking your higher power to strip away all the sandbags. You ever go to a circus and see like these hot air balloons? And they have these sandbags hanging off the side of them. What happens when they cut the sandbags loose? Every time they cut it loose, what happens? The balloon rises, right? Well, you pray to God, and we have to pray to our higher power to help us remove the sandbags from our life. And the sandbags are what's holding us grounded to their situation. They hold us grounded to trying to fix a situation we can't fix. So we lose ourselves, our identity. We lose, if you're a husband, you lose being a spouse. If you're a mother, you lose being a spouse. Brother, sister, aunt, uncle, son, daughter. You lose that place you had prior to. In your mind, you lose it. In some instances, actually in reality. But you are still that person. How do you get it back? You got to pray. You got to pray that God removes the sandbags from your spirit so that you can rise again. Second, very important. Second is breathe. You got to learn how to breathe. Breathing is everything. This is not something. I'm not talking about your chakra and your Pilates and yoga and stuff like that. But it's a big deal. Learning how to properly breathe can set the tone for your entire body. It can make your whole body come to peace. Okay, if you can get your head right, get your mind right, and now you're ready to go ahead and try and rediscover your identity, which again is still there. Your identity is still there. Some of the things that I always like to do whenever I get off the beam or I forget who I am is I like to read. And absolutely love to read is one day at a time, because that's what it takes one day at a time. One page, just read one page, the daily reading, and then the daily reminder. It literally takes you a minute, maybe, and that can help get yourself back on the beam again, to recover your identity. We, enablers and codependents, supplant what we were prior to. We're trying to take on this new identity of being the savior, of being the helper, the hero, the martyr, the Iron Man. We're going to fix it. Can't fix it. The only thing you can fix is you. So don't you owe it to yourself and to all your other family members to recover the person you were prior to. And again, let's go ahead and talk about, first and foremost, we got to pray. Second, we got to breathe. Third, what's the third most important thing? Reading. Finding a good place to read, finding your center. And I'm not talking about digging deep into, reading a whole book. But a chapter here, a chapter there of any book is good. It calms you. But the whole idea, again, is to try and find things that bring you back to what you were prior to. If you're a hobby person, if you're a scrapbooker, some people in my life love to cook. And if they cook, they feel at peace. They feel like the most them they've ever felt before, because everything else is pushed away. Nothing else matters to me. It's looking for things that find you, that give you pleasure and give you peace and give you serenity. These are things that will help you recover your identity. It's not a fancy trick. It's not something that you have to worry about happening overnight. It just takes time. It takes time, and you'll figure it out, and just keep working with it. Just because it doesn't work right away doesn't mean it's not going to work eventually. You're there, and you're there to be the person you were before, prior to this whole thing coming up. Who were you outside of your loved one's addiction? Who were you prior to this whole thing happening? That's who you still are. Were you a businessman? Were you a homemaker? Were you a CEO of Microsoft? Were you building rockets for Starlink? Whatever you were prior to this situation with addiction happening, you're still that person. Okay, you're still that person. So don't feel like for any minute that person's gone away, because it hasn't. Okay, you are still that person, and that person will always be who you are. So please don't ever for 1 second think that it's going to go away, because it's never going to go away. You just got to draw that person back out again. And how you do that is you got to remember who you were outside of your loved one's addiction, because that's the person you need to embrace again and help try and find. And just draw them out again. Draw that person out. Draw that person that wants to come out again. And how you do that is you put their addiction on the back burner, because it's nothing you can handle. That's not your fault. You didn't cause it, didn't cure it. You can't cure it, you can't control it. But you are contributing to it. So by letting it go, you can then focus your attention back on yourself and redirect your attention to finding yourself again and recovering your identity. Read a lot. I like to go for walks, things of that nature. It's amazing the serenity you can find out in nature. You'll find it pretty quickly. So avail yourself of all the tools around you. Have a long conversation. No one knows you better than you know yourself. Have a long conversation with you and ask yourself, what do you want to have accomplished out of this whole situation? You want to go back to being the person you were, or you want to just dive yourself full speed into this lava pit, this volcano of addiction that you can't fix? All it's going to do is take lives, yours and other people's, okay, figuratively and literally. So don't ever think for one reason or another that you can't somehow reconnect with the person who you once were, because you can. You got to pray, you got to breathe, you got to read, and then find a hobby that you used to love doing that will help you get in contact and get you once again liking the person that you used to be, because that person wants to come out, is tired of being kept over in the corner. All right. Hope that makes sense. Keep coming back. It works. If you work it, let it begin with you. And by all means, say a prayer for the prayer. Say a prayer for that person who is inside, that wants to come back out again, that wants to be happy, and wants to be living life again, and wants to smile. Remember smiling? Smiling was good. Got to smile. Okay. All right, guys. God bless, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good evening.